Today I'll be reviewing the biggest Highlander yet, a 2024 Toyota Grand Highlander. Now the Grand Highlander is a mid-size 3-row SUV. It's the newest one from Toyota and it is big, hence the name Grand Highlander. It is significantly bigger than the normal Highlander and even bigger than others in this class. And also you get extra goodies. So how good is this brand new Grand Highlander? Let's find out. First, let's talk about all the great things to the Grand Highlander, starting with the exterior looks. So if you're looking at the outside, the Grand Highlander to me is a cross between the Sequoia, the 4Runner, and the current Highlander. But I do like the exterior look because it's a lot more chiseled, squared off, masculine, and overall dimensions are bigger, so there's more presence to this new Grand Highlander. You could definitely tell it's higher off the ground. The SUV is also taller. It's also wider and longer, and you could definitely tell the extended length because it just looks much bigger than the normal Highlander. Overall, I'm a big fan of the exterior. I think this Grand Highlander definitely looks a lot more masculine and chiseled and more modern versus the Highlander. Next, let's talk about the size. The name implies this is a Grand Highlander, so is it bigger? It definitely is bigger than a normal Highlander. The Grand Highlander is approximately 5 inches longer than a normal Highlander. It's also 2 inches wider, 2 inches taller, and the wheelbase stretches by about 4 inches. Starting out back, you could see even with the third row up, there's a good amount of room for your cargo, for your luggage, for your groceries. There's a 12V outlet, and plus you do have some hidden storage underneath. But this is definitely much bigger than a normal Highlander. Now, if you fold down the third row, the cargo room increases, of course. If you fold down the second row, which they do fold down flat, you get an enormous amount of cargo room. So the new Grand Highlander is definitely much bigger on the inside. And of course, it's not just with cargo room. Passenger room also increases, specifically with the third row. Even with me, and I'm 5'10", sitting in the third row with the second row all the way back, yes, my knees do hit against the seat back, but it's livable for short distances. And I'd say, yes, this is much better than the normal Highlander. So for kids, definitely okay. For adults in emergency situations, it's okay too. The second row is very comfortable, captain chairs, so you could only have a 7-seat setup in the Grand Highlander. A bench middle seat is not available. There's plenty of legroom and headroom in the second row, and the same thing up front in the first row. So this Grand Highlander is definitely a big, mid-sized 3-row SUV built for large families. As for the interior cabin, it also is, in my opinion, an upgrade from the normal Highlander, and there's some pretty cool stuff going on the inside. First, let's talk about the dual screens that you see right away. You'll see a 12.3-inch infotainment screen in the middle of the dash. It's very bright, responsive. Navigating is quite simple. There's a few quick menu items on the left side, and you can scroll through a variety of things. Wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto are standard. Also, Wi-Fi is available, and OTA updates are also available with this new infotainment system. This is way better than the previous version that Toyota have used for years. Also, there is still a volume knob. And in addition, you get another screen for your digital gauge cluster, and it works perfectly fine. Everything that you want to see, there's a variety of menu items you could scroll through, and it's very bright and in your face as well. And also the interface looks quite nice. And there's a variety of driving modes. Depending on what you select, the digital gauge cluster does change. Inside this Limited, you also see this copper bronze trim everywhere that adds a nice touch to the interior cabin. You see it on the steering wheel, also in the center console, and you even see it on the seats as well. The seats are also dual material. You get the suede insert on the inside. You got leather on the outside with this Limited. And overall, the shape, design looks excellent. As for features, this Limited edition is also pretty well equipped. You do get heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats, memory seats up front, HomeLink buttons, a gigantic panoramic sunroof. What's also cool is every passenger inside this Grand Highlander gets its own USB ports. That includes a third row. On either side, you'll see a USB port. Also in the second row, you'll see 2 USB ports and a 12V outlet, and up front as well. So everyone gets to charge whatever they want to. Second row passengers also get sunshades, climate controls, and removable cup holders. I love this new cup holder. It is genius in my opinion. You just don't see that with any other SUV. The last thing that I want to talk about that's great with this Grand Highlander is the drive. The drive is actually surprisingly good. But what makes this drive so good? Well, let's start out with the suspension. This definitely has very, very comfortable and soft suspension. It's not great for corners, okay? When you're taking hard corners, you'll definitely feel body roll, but around town, ooh, it's like you're riding on clouds. It's just really soft. Everything is soaked up, and it's just really, really nice. And this Limited I'm driving has 20-inch wheels. So even with the larger wheels, smaller sidewall on the tires, this Grand Highlander is just cruising along so comfortably. It feels like a Lexus. Also, it's ridiculously quiet inside this Grand Highlander. Yes, it's extremely, extremely quiet. So quiet, in fact, with the radio off, the only thing I hear is the AC blowing. It's really quiet. You hear nothing from the outside whatsoever. The sound insulation in here is quite amazing. And besides the quiet ride, the seats are fantastic. They're so comfortable. You kind of just like get soaked within them. It's just like holding you like a glove, and it's just really nice. It's really soft, really nice. They hold you in. Love the seats. Something else that's awesome about this Grand Highlander is the powertrain, the Hybrid Max powertrain that this one is equipped with. Now, this Hybrid Max engine is totally different. You get best of both worlds, efficiency and power. And the drive is just so good, so seamless. This Hybrid Max motor produces 362 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. I believe this is class leading for this category. It's an enormous amount of power, and it's estimated that it still gets 27 miles per gallon. That's amazing. Amazing power and amazing fuel economy. The steering is also quite nice. There's a good amount of weight. The precision is also nice. There's not a lot of play in the steering wheel. So when you combine it all, I do think this is the most comfortable Toyota SUV I've ever tested. Let me test out acceleration. Decent. So I accelerated from about 25 to about 65. Good amount of torque and grunt. Not the quickest SUV. Didn't throw me back in my seat like that, but it's plenty of power, especially for a big family hauling SUV like this. It's good amount of power. Now that I said all the good things about the Grand Highlander, are there anything bad? Well, luckily there's only a few things. There's not too much to nitpick on with this Grand Highlander. But the first thing I want to talk about is the amount of plastic pieces on the inside. There's an enormous amount of plastic pieces everywhere, especially with the center console. There's just large area of just nothing but plastic. It just looks and feels cheap. Also on the dash, you have a lot of plastic as well. On the door panels, there's a lot of plastic as well. So even though the interior is nice, it could be better. The only other bad thing I could talk about is the starting price and the price of these Grand Highlanders overall. The base XLE starts way more than the base trim of a Highlander or a Pilot or a Telluride or a Palisade. So you're definitely paying a premium for the Grand Highlander. I think the biggest differentiator has to be the Hybrid Max powertrain. And although this powertrain is fantastic, is it worth the price? One other bad thing is the regenerative braking inside this Grand Highlander. There's no way to turn on or off or set different levels to the regenerative braking, and it behaves quite weirdly sometimes. So I gotta throw brakes in the bad as well. Now, as for pricing, there are 7 different trim levels to the brand new Grand Highlander. The base is XLE, so L and LE are not available. And XLE is already around $44,000, which is approximately $7,000 to $8,000 more versus everyone else in terms of a base price. Keep that in mind. Then you had the XLE Hybrid, Limited Hybrid, Platinum, Limited Hybrid Max, which is the one I'm driving today, and this one is around $55,000. And finally, the range-topping Platinum Hybrid Max, that one is coming in right under $60,000. So the Grand Highlander definitely carries a premium price for everything that you get. So to conclude, am I a fan of this Grand Highlander? Yes, I am. I like the looks. I like the new powertrain options, especially this hybrid max motor. I love the way this drives. This is a really good driving SUV. Also very comfortable, and of course, very spacious when it comes to cargo room and passenger room, right? I do think this is one of the best in this class. The only thing holding me back about this new Grand Highlander is the price. And I'm not so sure consumers are willing to pay it. What do you think? Are you a fan of this brand new Grand Highlander? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.